When the fastest sprinter of all time is named Usain Bolt, it makes you wonder if it's a coincidence he became a runner or merely fate. There is a phenomenon known as nominative determinism, which is a theory that proposes that individuals tend to be drawn to professions that suit their names. In his 1952 book, Synchronicity, psychologist Carl Jung explores the historical context of the idea, noting that there is a sometimes quite grotesque coincidence between a man's name and his peculiarities. The name of a child will inevitably become a self-fulfilling prophecy whether or not they like it. I decided to look into this phenomenon after I noticed that even in my real life, I was seeing cases of this. For example, I had a teacher named Richard Big, whose name turned out to be true because he was a huge dick. Or even my ex-girlfriend's new boyfriend who, coincidentally, also has the same name. Dr. Richard Chop is a prominent urologist renowned for his expertise in vasectomies. An article on incontinence featured in the British Journal of Urology was co-authored by a J.W. Splatt and D. Wheaton. People in the field of genitourinary medicine often have names to the effect of Hardwick and Woodcock, and in urology, names include Cox and Ball. For example, Nicholas Burns Cox is a consultant urologist and Dr. Lauren Hyman just happens to be a gynecologist. Funny stuff. Former United States Secretary of State Colin Powell used to be called Colin Bowell before he had to legally change his name after shitting his pants on several occasions. But perhaps all he needed to do was pay a visit to gastroenterologist Joshua Butt. Lawyer Sue Yu has said, "Ever since I was young, people were saying I should become a lawyer before I even knew what it meant to sue anyone." Sir Cumming, the head of Britain's MI6, thought using semen as invisible ink would be a good idea. Shoe company Shoe Zone has promoted Terry Boot to fill the boots of his predecessor Peter Foote, who walked away from the role. Joe Biden's new anti-corruption czar is a man named Rich Nephew. Andrew Drinkwater works at a water research center. Tom Kitchen is a famous Scottish chef. There exists ophthalmologists named both Ashley C. Wright and Dr. I.C. Notting. Lance Bass was the bass singer for the band NSYNC. Larry Speaks is a former White House spokesman under Ronald Reagan. Rob Banks subverted expectations and became a police officer. This guy who's dressed up exactly as Mr. Monopoly is named Rich Ritchie. He is an investment banker and a prominent figure in horse racing. The two richest people things to do. He's almost like a cartoon character. I guarantee that if he wasn't named Rich Ritchie, he would never wear the clothes he does. Stormfield is the name of not a streaker at a soccer game, but rather a news weather reporter. Sarah Blizzard has a similar job. In a study examining census data, researchers found a notable trend wherein men disproportionately pursued occupations aligning with their surnames. For instance, titles like baker, carpenter, and farmer correlated with a higher representation of men in those professions. The study further delved into the prevalence of dentists named Dennis, comparing it with names of equivalent popularity such as Jerry and Walter. The results, as stated in the study, revealed a surprising pattern. 482 dentists named Dennis, 257 dentists named Walter, and 270 dentists named Jerry. Despite law being a more popular profession in the general population, the study pointed out that dentistry holds a stronger sway over individuals with the name Dennis than law, indicating a propensity for teeth-related occupations over legal pursuits for those named Dennis. Doug Bowser joined Nintendo in 2015, and in 2019, he became president of the company. He's been quoted as saying, "We're two very, very different characters." Gary Bowser, on the other hand, who has no relation to Doug Bowser, was a member of Team Secutor, a Nintendo hacking group, engaged in selling chips enabling the play of pirated games. The piracy and hacking activities orchestrated by the group resulted in over $65 million in losses for Nintendo over a decade. I'm making this video as a PSA to future parents, not to take the task of naming your children lightly as it will inevitably dictate the future of their entire lives.